38 degrees. Looks like a nice day, T-Rex. We've got blue sky. Wind from the west, which is best if you like nice weather. The barometer, let's look at the trace of my barometer since yesterday. It's up to 30.96. Rising barometer, blue sky. Just gorgeous midweek weather, right? You can't see my tempest, it's right there in the sun. That's where I got my barometer reading. Aside from the westerly wind here, what can go wrong? Just amazing. Let's peek around the corner. Uh-oh, what's that? Look at those waves up in the sky. Those are perpendicular to the flow. So those are sort of like the waves you see in the sand. And waves are everywhere. Look at the flag. See how it's waving right there? What is weather? Weather is Mother Nature's attempt to balance out the differential heating of the earth by the sun. And boy, do we have differential heating this morning. It's 79 in Key West. Actually, that's 8 a.m. And it's 26 below in Devil's Lake, North Dakota. We have a 105-degree temperature gradient. Mother Nature has a lot of work to do to balance this out. And here are the weather watches, warnings, and advisories from coast to coast winter storm warnings. Blizzard warnings in 6 states, including Alaska. Hawaii, high surf advisory. Alaska has blizzard warnings, but my favorite, I guess, is Los Angeles. The National Weather Service office in Los Angeles has issued a blizzard warning practically into Burbank, California. How does this happen? It's just a reservoir of really cold air in Canada, Arctic high pressure in Western Canada, and really warm air with Bermuda and Bahamian high pressure. The battle of the gradient. And it's going to be played out significantly. Millions and millions at risk of getting inundated with weather. Those of us that like chasing weather, you just sit there and wait. It's going to come your way. Where do I start? It's a high barometer. That means cold is coming in front of the storm. But, you know, I've talked a lot about thicknesses, you know, the 540 line, the elevation, altitude rather, of the 500 millibar level. If it's at 540 decameters or lower, 534, something like that, it's cold enough for snow. And once you get to about 550 decameters, then it's warm enough for rain. But the problem is, we're going to 550 decameters here in Boston, but the air is going to keep on coming from the northeast. Low pressure is going to go off to our south. And that's going to keep the low-level flow coming in from the north, where it's very cold. And that means we have the chance for sleet and freezing rain, maybe right not at the beach, but just inland. And then you have to go pretty far north of, say, Killington and Sunday River to stay all snow with this first low-pressure system. It's a daisy chain, look at them tomorrow morning, of low-pressure systems, all along a boundary that's south of New England. Now, every time a low goes by, one goes by tomorrow afternoon, you get a burst of precipitation that relaxes, but then the air picks up from the north, and you go from, instead of an east wind to a north wind in Boston tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow night, and all of a sudden the temperature goes from the mid-30s to the upper 20s, and everything ices up with freezing drizzle possible in Boston. You can see the signature there. This is the Euro 3 to 5 day with that very subtle difference. And then another low comes in, and it starts to warm up a little bit Thursday afternoon, Thursday night, Friday. Where are we? Today is Wednesday. All right. So tomorrow afternoon we cool off, and then it tries to warm up tomorrow night, and then another low goes by, and then we start cooling off again Friday. Good call, Matt Noyes, on that 37 on Friday. Back when the guidance had us in the 20s and teens, it looks like we're going to have to wait until Friday night. So little changes make a big difference in the forecast going forward, and there are plenty of little changes. For example, all of a sudden now, even though we have a high barometer coming in on Saturday, the pressure's up around 1030 millibars. There's snow in the forecast for Saturday. So what's happening is there's just an incredible flow aloft. Let me rewind a little bit. I'll show you the upper flow for today. This is the 500 millibar chart, and there's that upper low in Southern California or southwestern United States, ejecting waves of energy coming out of the Pacific Ocean, racing across the country along the boundary. So it's not exactly like we have a strong storm. We just have an incredible thermal gradient that's being fed Pacific moisture. That's the reason for this coast to coast. So anyhow, you get a little bit of convergence aloft. You get a high pressure system going by, racing by on Saturday, but then all of a sudden there's a little bit of divergence aloft. It's almost imperceptible because there's such a tight flow in the sky. But anyhow, that subtle divergence aloft results in a chance of snow showers here on Saturday on the backside of that high. And so between now and then, I've forecast 22 inches of snow for Jay Peak, and I think that's good. You get further south, you probably end up more like with 10 inches of really dense snow with some, as I call it, funky hydrometeors coming in with that warmer air aloft for tomorrow and tomorrow evening. And then the Arctic air comes in. It's all it could be here Saturday with some white air around. Even though it's a high barometer, we're going to have instability because it's so cold aloft, colder than it is at the surface, which is just fascinating to me. And then it's still game on. As a matter of fact, the trough is going to deepen in the east and the northeast next week. And the guidance last night has come in with a low pressure system traversing New England from northwest to southeast on Monday into Tuesday, and then kind of bombing out south of Nantucket and moving toward the southeast with a benchmark low here Tuesday night. That would be the transition from February to March. March comes in like a lion with a chance of a snowstorm almost, don't say it, blizzard, don't say it, in southeastern Massachusetts. Blizzard in southeastern Massachusetts? No, not really, but that's how it looks in the guidance right now. But this guidance is all going to change. But we do have an upper level low, which is negative tilted over us the middle of next week, so we expect surprises. Are we going to have a Norlund instability trough? Mr. Lundstedt, get off the bench, get into the game. We need assistance. We want to know if there's a Norlund trough and how, with a high barometer, we can be so stormy. Well, it's a 1044 high in Western Canada and a series of 990 lows crossing the country from southwest to northeast until further notice. I'll leave you with a delivery from Canada. No, not cold air, but fuel coming in on a 600-foot tanker during the day yesterday as there were tornado warnings issued in New Jersey. Don't get me started. We'll leave you there. Talk to you tomorrow. 600-foot long tanker named Acadian. It's actually Canadian, and it's coming out of Halifax, Nova Scotia, Canada. Moving right along. It's cold outside. Got a lot of lightning off southeast Nantucket. Little storm going out to sea. We got squalls. One almost looked tornadic in New Jersey just now. Are we going to get a squall this evening? Wow, probably told you already. Out the door, weather and more. The and more part's always from the day before, usually. It's coming out of that stack anyway. Hope it's just steam.